So I think I'm going to be able to finish off my sewing pouch today. And I'm not going to rush the last bit, but I'm really looking forward to showing it to you because it went in a totally different direction than I expected. And I let it. It occurs to me that a little look at the back of the work before the last of this lining felt goes on might be nice, because we won't see that anymore when the pouch is put together. Okay, it's the next day and pretty dark, but hopefully light enough to show you this, the finished piece. Ta-da! And this is the outside of it, but when I show it to you, I might show you it from the inside out, so to speak, because I want to show you some of the development of the ideas, and then we'll put things in it at the end because it's a sewing pouch, so it should be used, shouldn't it? So in we go, and it has something in it already attached to the lining. I'll show you what's in that later when we're packing it up. But this is where I kind of started really after getting all the patches on. And as you can see, I did lots of different kinds of stitches here, but my ideas started kind of developing from when I put on seed stitch here, because this seed stitch then reminded me of something botanical, and this went on, so I was showing you that stage of the last video. But I was working a lot here then because I was extending that sort of theme, but I kind of worked around the piece a bit and then came down here, because the thing with this slow stitching is that it should be very relaxing and no overthinking things. So I was just going with the flow, and this very strong element here, I softened it down the same way I had softened the edge of this down by bringing elements out, and to me it looked like a window with light coming in. So I did this kind of light fixture here, made all these little round lace things that I know them as pops. I don't know what you call them, but they're such fun to make. So this became a kind of an indoor scene, and as you can see, I put this on much later, a little key, because it's kind of a little housey. And this is the kitchen of the house. I thought of it as the kitchen. I made a little chest of drawers, and I had a little vase of the same plants that were on the inside on top of that press. And a lot of the things nobody would know what they were, except me. So this is why I'm sort of telling you how I got my ideas. This shape here was a weird one. It had folded over on itself, but it looked like some sort of little house. So of course, because I had been doing seed shapes, it became a little storehouse for seed crops, wheat or something. And over here there was a field with crops growing. And then I even had, doesn't really look like it very much, but this is what in Ireland we call om writing, and om or om writing is writing that's marks on a stone. You see them in fields a lot, so I put that in kind of under the eye of the sun, So that's a very outdoors thing compared to the indoors. So let's have a look at the back of this piece. And if we turn it around to the back, there are other rooms of the indoors, because I tried, was a bit unsuccessful, but I tried to do a living room with a couch with 2 cats on it. So it didn't come out very successfully. But I just left it. I didn't want to work on it or strain too much at doing this, because I wanted to sew in all the enjoyment of the thing. And of course, I wanted to work up more of these kind of shapes just because I like doing them. And I like the lacy effect. And it's like adding more windows, really. I also added in on some of the squares frames, because I hang my paintings in my bedroom sometimes. And I wanted to paint kind of in patchwork the different rooms of my house. And these are supposed to be paintings. And there's my bed, with me having a big lie-in in the bed, which is a very cozy thing to do. And I have more kind of thinner work in here on a window. A lot of the thinner work doesn't get seen, but it was so enjoyable to do. And it's about doing rather than finished product as such. But I do like the finished thing a lot, even though it has all these ragged edges. And I was going to leave the edges ragged on this piece to add to the ragged look, and then decided fairly late in the making of it that it was going to be a functional object, and I was afraid that these would get more frayed in the edges if I did that approach. So I went for ribbons, and I went for this lovely ribbon I have with all the hearts in it, because home is where the heart is, isn't it? And where all the butterflies flap around at windows and things. So that's the outside. So the inside of the house is on the outside. On the outside the house, the landscape and everything is on the inside. So I just put it together like a sandwich, because this felt... I don't think it's very conducive to being turned inside out anyway. So the plan from the beginning, I knew I was going to use felt. I love that it's so bright. But it's nothing in it yet. So let's load it up. And I wanted to make it the right size to put this in, because it's going to have all my sewing things for this type of sewing. And we'll put in a few more little pouches that have various spools and things I use for this kind of thing. And then some of my fancy hand-dyed faux Boro threads can go in as well. And finally, some of my looser embroidery threads. So you might be able to guess what's in the little box or the little pouch by now, but I'll show you. So this is a last minute thing as well, made from, those tension squares you knit when you're making something in knitting, to check if your needles are the right size to get the size thing you want. I have a lot of those knocking around. So I had a lovely soft merino one I put in, and I wanted this bag to feel lovely as well. So I have some of my needles in there, and it's a nice place to store needles, you see. And they shouldn't stick through that way if you store them in there like that, because they're also buttoned in. And then when we close it, they'll stay in there. And this is where it gets really fun, because an object like this is meant to be used and full of things. And I wanted to see how it looked like when it's fully loaded, all the things in it, and looks lovely and roundy. And I love how it looks. It's so plump and cute, and you can see parts of the inside. I was going to put on pop buttons, but this is why I didn't, because different amounts of things will go into it at different times. Nothing is going to fall out of there. The pouch is nice and deep, and the pouch that's over here somewhere with the needles isn't going to fall out either, because it's held in. So I think overall a nice functional object that looks really pretty and is going to be such fun to use and feels wonderful. And when I'm sewing on these kind of projects, I'll be able to sit there and have this beside me and reach in to get things out of it. And I love that. I love that I get to use the object, that it's a functional object. So I hope you enjoyed seeing that, and thank you very much for watching.